Welcome to TribLIVE.com, and we welcome to the TribLIVE Radio family Chris Peak from Panther Lair, part of the Rivals Network, and now officially. Chris, would you like to make the announcement? The host of a show right here.
Yeah, right here on TribLIVE Radio, an all-Pitt show. We're airing every Thursday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., and, it's a place for Pitt fans to gather and just talk Pitt sports. Pitt fans always want more Pitt talk. They don't feel like they get the proper talking airtime, so we're going to give it to them. An hour every week, we're going to talk everything. Pitt football, basketball, recruiting. It should be fun. We'll talk Pitt sports, and, if you're a Pitt fan, that's what you want to do, talk Pitt.
Year-round, too. You get into this time of the year. I know it's the middle of college basketball season, but still, with signing day just being through, they'll have spring ball coming up. And this is the time of year there's a lot of speculation. People want to come for the answers. You've got them. Who's going to be an instant impact guy this year? Do they have a quarterback? The state of Paul Christ and the Pitt football team.
Yeah, it's funny. There's some great lines about what spring football actually means. The great Bino Cook had a great line about spring football that we shouldn't say because it's a family program here. But either way, you're always going to read too much into spring football, and there'll be the spring football All-Americans. But we'll dissect it because it's still fun to talk about. You want to know what your team is going to be. And, you're coming out of the bowl game where Chad Wojtek looked pretty good for the half that he played. Given the situation, it looked like he's got some things that he can do to really move the offense down the field. And, we'll see what he can do in spring. This is going to be a big spring for him.
Now, signing day, Paul Christ never talks about the players that didn't come, but they lost what potentially was a quarterback of the future in the whole trickle-down of James Franklin leaves Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt grabs the Pitt guy. It was a bit of a strange thing. I know Pitt and the staff couldn't speak on it, but give us the skinny. How big of a deal was that to lose out?
Yeah, Wade Freebeck, a quarterback out of Florida, a pretty prominent program down there, St. Thomas Aquinas. He was a big signing for Pitt, or a big commitment for Pitt in June, and he stayed. He was solid with Pitt all the way through until January. Of course, as you said, the coaching changes with Penn State and Vanderbilt. The new staff comes in, Derek Mason, the head coach of Vanderbilt, and really Vanderbilt, their recruiting class got decimated. So they were desperate. They're trying to find anything they can find, and they happen upon Wade Freebeck. They offer him, they put the hard sell on him, they get him to visit, and ultimately the allure of the academics at Vanderbilt, because it's a great school, and the allure of the SEC won out, and really the day before signing day, Wade Freebeck decides he's going to sign with Vanderbilt. And that's a blow. It's when you lose anybody the day before signing day, you can't really do anything. People said, well, are they going to try and make a run at this guy or that guy? Well, how are they going to respond to this? Well, you can't really respond. You have a day until these kids are going to fax in their letters of intent. So it left Pitt with only one quarterback in the class, Adam Burke out of Ohio. But they needed two, because you're going into spring camp with two guys. You're going in with Chad Wojtek and Trey Anderson. And then you're going into August training camp with Wojtek, Anderson, and a freshman, Adam Burke. Now, if Freebeck was there, they'd have, Wojtek, Anderson, and two freshmen instead of one. But still, the numbers of having four guys instead of three on scholarship, it was pretty important. They needed two guys in this class, and Wade Freebeck left them hanging. Now they're going to have to probably try and get two in this next class, which we'll talk about a lot over the next year because it'll be interesting to watch.
Well, you're part of the Rivals family over at PantherLair.com and Pittsburgh.Rivals.com. But what was the final skinny after losing Freebeck? How did they rank in terms of the class?
Yeah, the class ranked in the top 40 nationally, which was about what we expected. Right around the midway point of the ACC, they might have been number 8 or number 9. I forget the exact number. It seems about right. It's a class that has some very good recruits at the top. There's the running back Chris James, the two local linemen Alex Buchser and Mike Grimm, and then the wide receiver Adonis Jennings from New Jersey. Four-star recruits for Pitt, and then a lot of really solid guys, foundation guys that I think all have a pretty good chance to contribute. And if you're Pitt, that's how you want to build a class. Say you have 22 guys in a class. Well, you want about 15 to 18 of those to be solid guys that you think, okay, we're going to be able to do something with these guys. These guys will be able to contribute. And then you top it off with some of that high-end talent, which is more or less what they did this year.
Well, the program was in flux, moving to a new conference. Paul Christ obviously came in, and there was some talk of Wisconsin, and clearly they had some coaching turnover and major turnover. From what you've gotten the vibe, though, from Steve Peterson, the athletic director, is he pleased, despite losing Freebeck, at the way the football program is headed? We saw when he was in Nebraska, he was a little less patient. Is there a lot of pressure on Christ because he lost this quarterback recruit, and is this a huge year for the program?
Well, it's a big year for the program, it was going to be a big year even if they signed Wade Freebeck. It's year golly, year 3 already. So I mean, you've got to start showing some turnaround. You've got to start showing some improvement. But at the same time, you have to be cognizant of the situation. I mean, they are in a situation where they have a first-year starter at quarterback. Again, they're in a situation where they're very thin at quarterback. They've started to rebuild the offensive line, and you can go through all the positions, and you have to take that into account. I think you mentioned Steve Peterson in Nebraska. One thing was, I mean, Frank Solich wasn't his guy. Yeah. He was the coach he inherited. And so just like he inherited Dave Wanstead. And that's always going to be different when it's your guy as opposed to the guy that you kind of inherited. You might feel like, well, we've hit a certain point with this guy I inherited. We need to start something new. And so Steve Peterson's tried to start something new a couple times. And I think he feels confident in Paul Chryst. I think he likes the direction Paul Chryst has the program going. Now, they're coming off back-to-back 6-win regular seasons. That's not good enough, and Steve Peterson knows that's not good enough. But I think he feels like Chryst has a good staff in place, that he's recruiting, quote-unquote, the right way as he rebuilds the roster. And you look at the numbers, and he really is rebuilding the roster with 50 recruits in the last 2 classes. And I think Peterson has some confidence in how Chryst is going about his business. But he's got to take a step forward this year with the schedule and the fact that you're in year 3. You can't have another 6-win season. You've got to get 7 or 8.
Talk Pitt Sports every Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. right here on TribLIVE Radio at TribLIVE.com with Chris Peak, the Pitt expert from Panther Lair. Welcome aboard, and first show is March the 6th. Looking forward to it. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Ken.